The flame that burns within a human being is the most powerful force in the known universe. Yet so many of us walk through our days as if we are made of nothing but ash and shadows. We wake up to the sound of an alarm that feels like a prison siren. We move through routines that have lost their flavor, and we wonder why the world feels so gray. But I'm here to tell you that the grayness isn't in the world. It is simply a veil over your eyes that drops when you lose sight of your purpose and your passion. Purpose and passion are not luxury items reserved for the elite, the famous, or the lucky. They are the twin engines of the human spirit, and without them, you are merely a passenger in a vehicle that you were meant to drive. Think about the gravity of your existence for a moment. You are a biological miracle, a collection of stardust and stories, standing on a rock spinning through an infinite vacuum. The odds of you being here, exactly as you are, with your specific set of talents and your unique perspective, are mathematically impossible. And yet, here you are. To live without passion is to take that miracle and throw it into the bin of mediocrity. It is an insult to your potential to settle for a life that is fine or okay. We were not created for okay. We were created for extraordinary. But extraordinary is a choice that must be made every single morning before your feet even touch the cold floor. Passion is the why that keeps you standing when the world tries to knock you down. It is the electricity that surges through your veins when you find that one thing, that one craft, that one mission, that one person that makes your heart beat in a rhythm that the rest of the world can't understand. People will tell you to be realistic. They will tell you to tone it down, to fit in, to follow the path that has been paved by 1,000 bored feet before you. But realism is often just a sophisticated word for fear. It is the cage that people build for themselves because they are terrified of what might happen if they actually tried to fly. When you are fueled by passion, you don't care about being realistic. You care about being realized. You understand that the heat of your desire is the only thing that can melt the obstacles in your way. But passion alone is a wildfire. It can burn bright and hot, but without direction, it eventually burns out, leaving nothing but smoke. That is where purpose comes in. If passion is the fuel, purpose is the steering wheel. Purpose is the realization that your life is not just about you. It is about how your unique fire can light the way for others. It is the commitment to a cause greater than your own comfort. When passion and purpose collide, they create an unstoppable momentum that can change the course of history, or at the very least, the course of your own destiny. Consider the people who have changed the world. They weren't necessarily the smartest, the strongest, or the best funded. They were the ones who were most obsessed. They were the ones who stayed up when everyone else was sleeping because their purpose wouldn't let them rest. They were the ones who were laughed at, mocked, and told they were delusional, yet they kept moving forward because they had an internal compass that was more accurate than the external maps of society. You have that same compass. It is buried under the expectations of your parents, the pressures of your peers, and the noise of social media, but it is there. It is that quiet, persistent voice that whispers to you in the middle of the night, telling you that there is more to your story than what you are currently writing. The tragedy of the modern age is not that people fail, it's that they succeed at things that don't matter. They climb ladders only to realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. They win races they never wanted to run. I am asking you today to stop running someone else's race. I am asking you to stop trying to be a second-rate version of someone else and start being a first-rate version of yourself. This journey toward a life of purpose and passion is not a comfortable one. If you are looking for comfort, you have come to the right place for a nap, but the wrong place for a revolution. Growth happens in the discomfort. It happens in the moments when you are stretched so thin you think you might break, only to realize that you are made of much stronger material than you thought. Passion requires you to be vulnerable. It requires you to put your heart on your sleeve and say, this is what I love, and I don't care if you think it's weird. It requires you to fail, and fail often, and fail loudly, but every failure is just a data point. Every no is just a redirection toward a better yes. The only true failure is the failure to try. The only true loss is the loss of your spark. You must protect that spark with everything you have. You must surround yourself with people who fan your flames, not people who try to douse them with their own insecurities. There are people in your life right now who are threatened by your potential because it reminds them of what they gave up on. You must love them, but you must not listen to them. Your life is too short to be lived at the volume someone else has set for you. To find your purpose, you must look at your wounds as much as your wins. Often, our greatest purpose is found in the very things that almost broke us. The pain you have endured, the struggles you have overcome. These are not just scars, they are credentials. They are the evidence that you have survived the fire and have something to teach those who are still walking through it. Your passion is often found at the intersection of what you love and what the world needs. It is the place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep hunger. When you find that spot, you don't just find a career, you find a calling. And a calling is something you don't just do from 9 to 5, it is something you inhabit. It becomes the lens through which you see every sunset, every challenge, and every human interaction. It gives you a reason to endure the unendurable. It gives you the courage to speak when your voice shakes. It makes you a leader not because you have a title, but because you have a direction. And in a world that is wandering aimlessly, someone with a direction is a magnet for hope. The transition from feeling inspired to actually manifesting that inspiration is where most dreams go to die. It is easy to be passionate when the sun is shining and the applause is loud, but the true test of your purpose is what you do in the silent, grueling middle. This is the part of the journey where the novelty wears off, where the adrenaline of the start dissipates, and you are left with nothing but the raw work and the echoes of your own doubts. If you want to live a life of significance, you must learn to fall in love with the process, not just the result. You must become a person who finds joy in the grind, who finds meaning in the repetition, and who understands that greatness is not a sudden explosion, but a slow, steady accumulation of small wins. Purpose is not a destination you reach and then retire. It is a discipline you practice every single day. It is the decision to keep going when the results are invisible. It is the faith that the seeds you are planting in the dark are growing roots that will eventually support the weight of your destiny. Most people quit right before the breakthrough because they cannot handle the silence of the middle. They mistake a lack of immediate feedback for a lack of progress. But the greatest structures in the world require the deepest foundations, and foundations are built underground where no one can see them. You have to realize that your passion is a living thing that requires constant nourishment. It is not a permanent state of being. It is an energy that must be managed. There will be days when you don't feel passionate. There will be days when your purpose feels like a burden rather than a gift. In those moments, you cannot rely on your feelings, because feelings are fickle and unreliable. You must rely on your commitment. You must have a why that is so deeply ingrained in your soul that it pulls you out of bed even when your body is heavy with exhaustion. This is the difference between an amateur and a pro. An amateur works when they feel like it. A pro works regardless of how they feel, because they serve a higher master, their purpose. When you align yourself with a mission that is bigger than your own ego, you tap into a reservoir of strength that is not your own. You become a vessel for something greater. This is why you see people who should be exhausted, who should be broken, yet they keep moving with a smile on their face. It isn't because they are superhuman, it's because they are fueled by a source that doesn't run dry. They are connected to their passion in a way that transcends the physical. Let's talk about the obstacles, because they are guaranteed. The moment you decide to live with passion and purpose, the universe will test you. It will throw distractions in your path, it will bring critics into your life, and it will present you with easier options that require you to sell a piece of your soul for a bit of comfort. These obstacles are not there to stop you. They are there to see how badly you want it. They are the gatekeepers of greatness. If it were easy, everyone would do it. The reason the view from the top is so beautiful is because so few are willing to endure the climb. You must develop a thick skin and a soft heart. You need a thick skin to deflect the arrows of those who don't understand your vision, and a soft heart to stay connected to the reason you started in the first place. Never let the hardness of the world turn you into a cynic. Cynicism is the death of passion. It is a protective mechanism for people who have been hurt and have decided to stop trying. But you are a warrior, and a warrior does not hide from the battle, they prepare for it. They sharpen their skills, they study their craft, and they keep their eyes fixed on the horizon. One of the greatest thieves of passion is the thief of comparison. We live in a world where we are constantly bombarded with the highlight reels of others. We see their end results and compare them to our messy beginnings. We see their overnight success and feel like we are falling behind. But there is no such thing as overnight success. There are only years of invisible preparation that suddenly become visible. Their journey is yours alone. Your timeline is unique to you. Comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20 is a recipe for misery. Your purpose is not to be better than someone else. It is to be better than the person you were yesterday. When you focus on your own lane, you find a sense of peace that allows your passion to flourish. You stop looking sideways and start looking inward and upward. You begin to understand that you are not in competition with anyone. You are in a dance with your own potential. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory if it is a step toward the person you were meant to be. To sustain your passion over the long haul, you must also learn the art of self-transcendence. If your purpose is entirely self-centered, if it is only about your fame, your money, or your comfort, it will eventually feel hollow. The human spirit is designed for contribution. We are hardwired to find the most meaning in things that benefit others. Think about the times in your life when you felt the most alive. It was likely a moment when you were helping someone, when you were sharing a gift, or when you were part of something that brought value to the world. When your passion serves a purpose that helps others, it becomes indestructible. It creates a feedback loop of energy. When you see the impact your work has on another person's life, it reignites your own fire. It reminds you that you matter. It reminds you that your presence on this earth is not an accident, but a necessity. You are a piece of a puzzle, and without you, the picture is incomplete. That is the ultimate motivation. The knowledge that there is a gap in the world that only you can fill. As you move through this middle stage of your journey, you must also be careful about the voices you allow into your inner circle. Passion is contagious, but so is apathy. If you spend your time with people who have no vision, who complain about their circumstances without trying to change them, and who settle for the status quo, their mindset will eventually become your own. You must seek out the fire starters. Seek out the people who challenge you, who push you, and who refuse to let you play small. Seek out mentors who have walked the path before you and who can point out the pitfalls. But even more importantly, be that person for someone else. One of the best ways to stay passionate is to mentor someone else who is just starting out. Seeing the world through their eyes, seeing their raw hunger and their untapped potential will remind you of why you started. It will keep you humble, and it will keep you hungry. The middle of the journey is also where you must master your environment. Your external world is often a reflection of your internal state. If your life is cluttered and chaotic, your mind will be as well. Create a space that honors your purpose. Set boundaries that protect your time. Your time is your most precious resource, and yet it is the thing we most easily give away to people and activities that don't deserve it. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you are saying no to your passion. You must become a guardian of your focus. In an age of infinite distraction, the ability to focus on one thing until it is finished is a superpower. Deep work is the language of purpose. It is the focused application of passion over time. It is how masterpieces are created, how businesses are built, and how lives are transformed. Don't be a person who is busy. Be a person who is productive. There is a massive difference. Business is often just a way of avoiding the difficult work of purpose. Productivity is the intentional movement towards your goals. Now we come to the final horizon, the place where your individual efforts begin to ripple outward into the fabric of eternity. We have spoken of the internal fire and the discipline of the middle, but the true culmination of a life lived with purpose and passion is the legacy you leave behind. Legacy is not about monuments, statues, or names etched in cold stone. It is about the warmth you leave in the hearts of others and the permission you give to the next generation to dream even bigger than you did. When you live with an uncompromising passion, you become a living permission slip for everyone who crosses your path. Most people are waiting for a leader to tell them it is okay to be great, to tell them that their weirdness is actually their genius, and that their dreams are not delusions. By simply being who you are meant to be, you provide that leadership. You show the world that it is possible to live without the heavy chains of should and must, and instead move to the rhythm of want and will. Your life becomes a lighthouse for those who are currently lost in the storm of conformity. We must address the reality of time, for it is the one thing we cannot negotiate with. Every second that passes is a second you will never see again. This isn't meant to be depressing, it is meant to be the ultimate motivator. The urgency of your purpose is dictated by the brevity of your life. We often act as if we have an infinite supply of tomorrows, but tomorrow is a mirage that keeps us from taking action today. Passion thrives in the now. It doesn't wait for the perfect conditions, the right amount of money, or the approval of the critics. It acts, it moves, creates. If you knew that you only had 1 year left to live, how much of your current to-do list would you throw in the trash? How many of the people you are trying to impress would suddenly become irrelevant? The irony is that we all have a terminal diagnosis. It's called being human. The only question is what we do at the time between the start and the finish. A life lived with purpose is a life that recognizes this ticking clock and decides to make the music so loud that it drowns out the sound of the seconds slipping away. You must realize that the world is desperately hungry for what you have to offer. We live in a society that is technically connected, but spiritually starved. We have more information than ever before, but less wisdom. We have more convenience, but less fulfillment. This gap exists because so many people have traded their passion for a paycheck and their purpose for a pension. They have become cogs in a machine that doesn't care about their soul. But you are not a cog. You are the architect. When you lean into your passion, you are providing the world with the one thing it cannot manufacture: authenticity. There is no algorithm that can replace the human heart on fire. There is no artificial intelligence that can replicate the soul of someone who is doing exactly what they were born to do. Your authenticity is your greatest competitive advantage. When you are operating in your purpose, you have no competition, because no one can be you better than you can. As you reach the peak of your journey, you will find that the rewards are not what you expected. The trophies and the accolades are nice, but they are fleeting. The real reward is the person you become in the process of pursuing your purpose. You become someone who is resilient, someone who is deeply compassionate, and someone who possesses an unshakable inner peace. This peace comes from the knowledge that you didn't leave anything on the table, that you didn't play it safe. You didn't let the fire go out. There is no greater feeling than laying your head on the pillow at night, knowing that you gave everything you had to a cause that mattered. That is the definition of success. It isn't about the size of your bank account, it's about the size of your impact. It's about the number of lives that are better because you took a breath today. It's about the courage you showed when it would have been easier to hide. I want you to imagine yourself at the end of your life, looking back at this very moment. What will that version of you wish you had done? Will they wish you had spent more time worrying about what strangers on the internet thought of you? Will they wish you had spent more years in a job that drained your spirit? Or will they wish you had taken that leap? Will they be proud of the scars you earned in the pursuit of your passion? Be the person your future self will thank. Be the hero of your own story. We spend so much time watching movies and reading books about heroes, forgetting that the hero's journey is not a fictional trope, it is a blueprint for the human experience. You are currently in the middle of your own epic. You have faced the call to adventure, you have met the shadows, and now it is time for the return. The part where you bring the wisdom and the light back to the community. Let your passion be so loud that it wakes up the neighbors. Let your purpose be so clear that it terrifies your doubts. Do not go gently into that good night. Go with your boots on, with your heart open, and with your soul shouting yes to every challenge. The world doesn't need more people who are fine. The world needs people who have come alive. And when you come alive, you will find that the universe itself seems to conspire in your favor. Doors will open where there were only walls. People will appear out of nowhere to help you. The wind will catch your sails. This isn't magic. It is the natural result of alignment. When you align your daily actions with your eternal purpose, you become a force of nature. And you cannot stop a force of nature. So, as we conclude this address, I want you to take a deep breath and feel the life force moving through you. That energy is your raw material. What are you going to build with it? Are you going to build a monument to your fears or a temple to your dreams? The choice is made not once, but 1,000 times a day. Choose the path of fire. Choose the path of meaning. Choose to be the person who cared too much, who worked too hard, and who loved too deeply. In the end, we are all just stories. Make yours a story worth telling. Make yours a story that makes someone else feel like they can conquer their own mountains. Your passion is the pen, and your purpose is the ink. The page is blank, and the world is waiting to read what you write next. Stand up, step out, and let the fire burn. This is your time. This is your life. This is your purpose. Now, go out there and live it with everything you've got.